Secret Invasion episode 1 has just dropped on Disney Plus, and I enjoyed it. I'm not in love with the show as of yet. I'm not like I've seen a bunch of critics say that this is going to be the MCU's Andor, and maybe it'll become Andor, but as of right now, it's not quite on that level. But tonally, it is. I mean, it is very much sort of living up to that promise of it being a much more serious, a spy thriller that's very tense and all that, and it's totally living up to that promise. So I appreciate that. You know, all of the serious moments, they're not being undercut by jokes. So that's nice, I suppose. And yeah, so I guess I'll start by addressing the controversy. So the intro of the show, it's come out that it was actually made by AI. Um, so I'm just gonna be completely honest. I didn't catch that when I watched it. Like I didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't watch it being like, oh my god, this intro is amazing. But I just didn't think much of the intro. So I'm not gonna. A bunch of people are saying, oh, it looks terrible. I don't think it looks terrible because again, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't think much of it when I watched it, but I'll just say that I don't like the fact that it was made by AI. The fact that studios are already just straight up using AI in their projects is terrifying. Like that, yeah, it's scary. So I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that it was so horrendous because I don't think it was. But yeah, I'll say that. But to get onto the show itself, I think my favorite aspect of the show is the character of Nick Fury. He is the lead here. It's the first time that Sam Jackson has been given the leading role, and I think he's great in it. He's playing a battered down Nick Fury, almost like Logan. Hugh Jackman and Logan. And yeah, you really feel his age. You really feel how they specifically call out how the blip, right? How that affected Nick Fury and it almost broke him. You know, you see a bunch of characters respect him a bit less because of how he's just not the same Nick Fury as he once was. And yeah, seeing an older character sort of being worn out and all of that is always it's a tried and true sort of a theme or whatever, and it's done well here. I think Samuel L. Jackson is fantastic in the show. They're finally can you believe he's 74 years old? They're finally allowing him to like be his age because he just like doesn't want to age. But they had to give him a gray beard in order for him to look it. And yeah, I love his dynamic with Talos. I loved his dynamic with Olivia Colman. Their scene was fantastic. And so yeah, Nick Fury's great. I'm digging the plot. I like the conflict here. So, with the Skrulls basically being, it's not even that much of a gray area. They were straight up wronged, right? They were promised a home. They were where they could be Skrulls and all of that, and Captain Marvel and Nick Fury have not lived up to that promise, And I was like, at first, at first I thought it was a little weak because it was like, okay, so I get that you don't have like your own place, but it's like you still have a home, right? You just have to live amongst humans. But I started thinking about it as if it were a real world event, and I'm like, no, that's kind of a not a human rights issue, but a species or a sentient being rights issue where it's like Skrulls are not allowed to just be themselves. Like that is genuinely messed up, right? Imagine if like black people had to be in whiteface every day because they weren't allowed to just be black. It's like, no, it's pretty messed up. So yeah, it's just an interesting conflict that they've presented here. And does it excuse them becoming terrorists? No, not necessarily, but yeah, I appreciate that they're just straight up portraying the hero here, Nick Fury, as having severely wronged the Skrulls, and I think it makes the conflict a lot more interesting. I think it makes Talos's relationship with him really interesting. I appreciate the actor. What's his name? Ben Mendelsohn. I feel like in his performance, I feel like in his performance, it's never really explicitly said, but I feel like he's showing his sort of confliction. Is confliction a word? He's showing how conflicted he is because he totally gets that why the Skrulls feel the way that they do, and you can kind of sense that he feels some sort of resentment towards Nick Fury for not keeping his word, and for just completely abandoning them, like straight up not even being on Earth for so long. So you could totally see the complexity of their relationships and what's going to brew, I'm assuming, in future episodes. And speaking of Talos, I really liked his relationship with his daughter. I feel like his relationship with his daughter is definitely adding even sort of the complexities within the Skrulls themselves. It's not like the Skrulls are not all united against the humans. There are complexities even within that sort of faction. And yeah, so I thought it was really good. I thought it was appropriately tense. I liked so far the villain character, like the main Skrull bad guy. I think he's really good in this. I love the reveal that he was sort of always there watching Nick Fury. I thought that was it was a really neat reveal. And then it ends with Maria Hill dying. I mean, this is of course the Marvel fake death universe, but I think that it was. I think that it. I don't think they're messing around here because, in the credits it said special guest star Kobe Smulders, and I don't know what the legalities of this are because it's like I feel like when something is credited, I don't think you can just lie in there. Like I feel like when you're crediting an actor in your credits, I don't think that's a place where you can mess around creatively. I feel like you have to be like right on the money, or else you're like miscrediting somebody. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know that for a fact, but that's just what I kind of assume. So maybe they can mess around in credits and they can call her a special guest star, and then she was, oh no, there was actually a Skrull that they shot. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But I think they straight up killed Maria Hill, and it was kind of a shocking moment. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Like she's been such a constant throughout this franchise. I feel like Kobe Smulders, like every time she shows up, it's like, oh, it's Robin. It was always neat having her in all these projects, and now she's gone. And hopefully it leads to the show having a decent amount of stakes, right? Where you feel like things can actually go awry, which people can die, which I feel like is important in a spy thriller. The other aspect of this that I mentioned was Rhodey is in this. And they've sort of revealed where he's at right now in the MCU, where he seems like he's the president's like right-hand man in some sense. And I like that the president has sort of sent him to take down Nick Fury. So it's going to be interesting how their dynamic is. Like, I wonder if, like, are we going to see Rhodey put on the War Machine armor to take down Nick Fury or something? Probably not. I don't know that they would go that far. Because I mean, we've seen clips in the trailers where they're just kind of talking to each other. So at some point they're going to meet up and have a discussion. So my guess is that Rhodey is going to sort of play both sides a little bit and be a bit of a mediator between the government and Nick Fury in this situation. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm missing any other like major spoilery thing. I guess the other thing I'll say is that I felt like a couple of the scenes were going on a bit long, right? I feel like there were, like, I hope that this doesn't end up being a situation where a lot of these 6-episode event Disney Plus shows have fallen into, where there's 6 episodes and they feel like you could have cut them down and just made a movie, or you could have used more episodes to properly expound on what you were trying to do. Because I don't know, I felt like I felt like certain things with whether it be with like Emilia Clarke's character and her dealings with the scrolls, or the conversations that she kept on having with her dad. I don't know. Some of it felt a little bit dragged out a bit. Like I will also say like it is a very slow show, not necessarily in a bad way, but sometimes in a bad way. Where maybe something could have been a bit tighter, and I'm just putting it out there. It could possibly end up being the case that the show ends up feeling like a bloated movie or a TV show that, or a really a show that's too short. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But overall, I enjoyed this first episode. I thought it was good. And I want to know what you think about it. Tell me in the comments below. Also, like the video and whatever. And oh my gosh, who's a skrull? Am I a skrull? Are you a skrull? Who knows? Who's a skrull?